Breaking news, folks. We're not even doing some willy-nilly intro or anything like that. We're hopping straight into it. Jim Ryan is leaving Sony in March 2024. That's right, folks. Good old Lion Jim Ryan will be leaving Sony. This news just broke online. Sony Interactive Entertainment's website then published this article mere moments after the news was broken by good old Jason Schreier, who has me blocked, but whatever. All these journalists do. So on the 28th in Tokyo, or the 27th here in the United States, Sony Group Corporation and Sony Interactive Entertainment today announced that Sony Interactive President and CEO Jim Ryan has made the decision to retire in March 2024 after almost 30 years with the PlayStation business. To support Mr. Ryan in his transition, Sony Group Corporation President, COO, and CFO Hiroki Totoki, yeah, I think that's that right, will assume the role of chairman of Sony Interactive Entertainment effective October 2023. Effective April 1st of 2024, Mr. Totoki will be appointed interim CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment while he continues his current role at Sony Group Corporation. Now, he just became president of Sony Group Corporation and CFO back earlier this year, almost in March. I believe it was March of 2023. So that was a pretty sizable shakeup going on over at Sony. But this obviously is a hell of a lot bigger because there's a lot of stuff to digest here. So they basically are going to work closely with Yoshida and stuff like that. Talking about Jim Ryan joining Sony Interactive, Yoshida then gave a statement, and then Jim Ryan then gave a statement. So we're going to read both of these, and then I'll talk about it. Jim Ryan has been an inspirational leader throughout his entire period with us, but never more so than in overseeing the launch of the PlayStation 5 in the midst of a global pandemic. The extraordinary achievement made by the entire SIE team has been steadily built and PlayStation 5 is on track to become Sony Interactive Entertainment's most successful console yet. I'm immensely grateful to Jim for all his achievements. Respecting Jim's decision to finish his long career at Sony leaves me with an important decision regarding his succession, given the significance of the game and network services business. We have discussed intensively and have determined that the new management structure. We aim to achieve Sony's group further evolution and growth through bringing even greater success to the game and networks services business. Obviously, Jim Ryan gets a lot of heat from people like me because I have not liked the Jim era or the Jim Ryan era of Sony. Like, name me a couple good things that he's done this generation, because I can't. The man lied to our faces telling us about the power of the PlayStation 5 when these games still came to the PlayStation 4. The man then raised the prices of, PSN and stuff. You got to pay $80 online, and I understand it wasn't a one-man decision or something like that, but when you're the figurehead, when you are the president of the company, all of that weight comes onto your shoulders because you are the one who is allowing this to happen or potentially even made this happen. So I have no remorse in my, analysis of Jim Ryan as a presidential figure for Sony Interactive Entertainment, because I just don't feel like he's done a great job, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as we move along. Then we have the comment from Jim Ryan. After 30 years, I've made the decision to retire from Sony Interactive Entertainment in March 2024. I've relished the opportunity to have a job I love in a very special company, working with great people and incredible partners, but I found it increasingly difficult to reconcile living in Europe and working in North America. I will leave having been privileged to work on products that have touched millions of lives across the world. PlayStation will always be a part of my life, and I feel more optimistic than ever about the future of Sony Interactive Entertainment. I want to thank Yoshida-san for placing so much trust in me and being an incredibly sensitive and supportive leader. So he's basically saying, living in Europe, trying to do work in North America, it's hard. I mean, geez, if there was only a way for him to live in North America, I guess he can't. Like, I don't know, people move for jobs like all the time. If it's that stressful, like what exactly about it was stressful, I guess, is my question. Obviously you would have to travel a lot to North America to do like press events and stuff like that, but like beyond that, you're not working on games natively or anything like that. You're not actually programming games and stuff. So I don't know, just kind of a weird comment. And then Totoki has the following to say: I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude for Jim Ryan for his outstanding achievements and contributions over his 30-year career at Sony, including the great success of launching the PlayStation 5. The PlayStation business managed by Sony Interactive and is an essential part of Sony's group entire business portfolio. I will work with Jim and the senior management team closely to ensure our continued success and further growth. I am also looking forward to creating the exciting future of PlayStation and the games industry together with everyone at Sony Interactive Entertainment and its business partners. And then we wrap things up here. So I do find one thing interesting here that I did want to mention is that the PlayStation business managed by Sony Interactive Entertainment is an essential part of Sony's group entire business portfolio. And that's 100% true. Unlike Microsoft, where they don't necessarily care about Xbox being a huge driving force. I mean, shareholders do, of course, but Microsoft doesn't really view them as like a huge necessity. They are a big portion of Sony. Sony's gaming division is a huge portion of what Sony does as far as the business model is concerned. But the one thing I want to say about Jim Ryan and his tenure with Sony, and more importantly, you know, with the PlayStation 5 launching the system, this, that, the other, I can't help but feel like the PlayStation 5 has been a very directionless system. And what do I mean by that? I mean, what is the direction of the PlayStation 5? Because I felt like we've been getting pulled in so many different directions. It's about games that can only be played on PlayStation 5, but they're still coming out on PlayStation 4. You know, the power of the PlayStation 5. I'll never forget that, because the man lied to millions of people about this thing. That's how he got the nickname Lying Jim Ryan. But Jim Ryan would go on to say things like, you know, oh, we want to make all these online games, and this is the future of Sony. So is it both that are the future, the online component of games and online only games and online dedicated games and the single player narrative driven experiences? Or is it is it one or the other? Like, there's so many mixed messages. Obviously Sony leaving Japan, you have to feel like, you know, Jim Ryan had a bit of a role in that too, definitely focusing more so on the Western market, which I don't even necessarily think is a bad thing, because the Western market, I hate to break this to you weebs, you're gonna get mad at me for saying that, but the Japanese market, while it used to be huge in the 90s and stuff like that, it is now a fraction. It is actually one of the smaller markets when you compare Europe, North America, and Japan, which are the three biggest markets. Japan is the smallest out of those three markets. So I understand it from a business perspective, but a lot of fans of Japanese style games love those games coming to us from Sony. And there's been stuff like Ghost of Tsushima, Sekiro. Of course, you have Square Enix, you know, doing great support on the system. But as far as the first party Sony titles were concerned, I mean, it's been kind of dry this generation. And I just feel like Jim Ryan was never a good fit. We never got an explanation as to why Sean Layden left his position at Sony, or was he forced out of his position at Sony. But I could confidently say that looking back at the Sean Layden era and the Jim Ryan era, it was night and day. The Sean Layden era for PlayStation was one of their best eras. You know, obviously things like the PlayStation 3 got off to a rocky start, but the PlayStation 3 eventually hit on all cylinders. It just had a little bit of a difficult architecture to work on initially, whereas the 360 didn't have that same sort of architecture. And then the PlayStation 4 was just dominant right out of the gate. There was software coming out at a continuous rate, and it never felt like there was any really sort of lulls as far as first party games were concerned. Whereas the PlayStation 5, it's definitely been a very different story with some anti-consumer practices, such as the raising of the price of PSN without including any additional value. You already made this brand new PSN structure. You already made this whole brand new PSN thing and made everyone buy into it with the essentials and the premium packs and stuff like that, but you never followed it up with value. And I can't help but feel like Jim Ryan played a role in this. Now, obviously, you know, he's retiring, so it's not like he's being and maybe he is to some degree, but he's retiring. He's going out on his own terms. He probably has a nice severance package. He's probably got pensions saved up. He's going to be good for the rest of his life. And you know what? I wish and hope that he enjoys his time away from PlayStation, enjoys his retirement, and lives life. But as far as a consumer is concerned, I never really liked this era of Jim Ryan, or this era of Sony when Jim Ryan got involved and got to the main, the main presidential ranking of Sony Interactive Entertainment, because in my opinion, I just didn't feel like he did a good job. Maybe you disagree with that. Maybe you like the Jim era or the Jim Ryan era of Sony, and that's cool, man. Like, I won't bash you for liking that era, but for me personally, there's a reason why my PlayStation 5 is sat here and has been sat here unhooked up on my desk for a very long time. Because I don't have anything to play on this. I want the first party games. That's why I like Sony stuff. Obviously, Spider-Man 2 is going to tickle my fancy, but this is obviously huge news. I wanted to get this out there and talk with you guys about it and get your guys' feedback on it. I'm sure there will be people that are upset. I'm sure that there will be people that disagree with me, and that is fine. I don't care. You're allowed to disagree with me. I know we can have differentiating opinions and still be cool with each other. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share this video around. It's breaking hot news. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.